get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back seat! Tell me where you are, John!
Wolfman's got Nards!
Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. Now, when we look at Scream 3, it's no secret that is the worst in the franchise. It's no secret that when it comes to the character development, the way the characters were, the way the dialogue and the script, everything seems a little bit off, and that is because of the countless rewrites that they've done in the lead up to Scream 3. Now, with the real life massacre in Columbine and other school shootings around the US, they had no choice but to rewrite the script, not just once, not just twice, but numerous times because of what happened in real life. Now, in real life, what some people done was blame not just the movies, but Scream 1 and 2 specifically for what happened. So I think that the studio were under a lot of pressure to change the script because of what happened in real life. And that is unfair for Scream because it's not just Scream that shows violence in films, but I can understand from both parties as to why they've done what they had to do. Now, what I want to do is look into the original scripts, not fully because there's so many rewrites, right up until the point of the day of shooting, and this happened in Scream 2 as well, but Wes Craven and the guys who were trying to rewrite the film, they would go on set on the exact same day of shooting and say we have to rewrite that. So they had to do a lot of changes throughout the entire production of the movie, and the final product shows because it is the weakest in the franchise. Now we'll start with the obvious one with Stu Macher. Stu Macher was originally supposed to come back, as most people know. He was going to be in jail. The film was going to be set in Woodsboro, and the Woodsboro High kids who were influenced by what Stu and Billy done were going to visit Stu in jail, but because that was so on the nose for what happened in real life, they had to scrap it. Not only did they have to scrap the small town wanting to start another massacre because of what happened in real life, but you don't want to glorify killers who have survived massacres and go and ask them questions and advice. So not only was the location scrapped, the person like Stu was scrapped as well. So they had to remove the Woodsboro aspect and all the violence, or the big violence, and take it somewhere else. So that's why they took it to Hollywood, and they removed a lot of the violence and gave us a lot more comedy. As you'll notice, Scream 3 is the funniest film in the franchise. When I say funniest, it's not really funny, but they tried to make it funny. They gave us more humour, they gave us more jokes, and they cut back on the violence. So that's why they had to scrap that completely and give us a more fluffy finale in this original trilogy. If we move on to the killers in Scream 3, as you'll see, Ghostface had to have been in two places at once most of the time because there was originally two killers in the script. Now, I don't know why they've scrapped this, and I don't think anyone knows why they only cut it down to one killer. There was two killers in Scream 1, there's two killers in Scream 2, Scream 4 and Scream 5, but in Scream 3 there was only one killer, and it was completely off with the way the movie progressed all the way through it. Now, Angelina was supposed to be the second killer. She was a lover of Roman, and not only was she supposed to be the killer, she wasn't just this throw-in killer. She had a backstory. She was originally called Angie Crick, and she was from Woodsboro High. She was a student at the same time and in the same year as Sidney Prescott. Now, she remembers Sidney because obviously Sidney made news, and she wanted to be as famous as Sidney. She wanted to be the next Sidney Prescott. She wanted to get all the glory and the fame. Now, Sidney doesn't remember her, and that is realistic because when I was at school, I don't remember all my classmates, so Sidney obviously wouldn't remember all of her classmates, especially in a bigger school in the US. So Angie remembers her. She has a bit of a grudge because she wants to be famous. She wants to be Sidney Prescott. So it was quite poetic and quite cool that she was playing Sidney Prescott in the Stab films, and then she wanted to become her and take her fame. Now, although they did scrap that script, they brought part of that into Scream 4 with Jill Roberts. Jill Roberts is related to Sidney, but she wants to be the next Sidney Prescott. She wants to take over as the heroine, and she wants to be famous, and that's exactly what she tried to do in Scream 4. So although elements of Scream 3's script were scrapped, they brought it into other films, and we may see some of that in Scream 6, which I'll talk about now. Now, the best part of the Scream 3 script that was scrapped was the ending of the film. Now, there was so many scripts that they had to scrap in Scream 3, but the most intriguing part for me was an original ending that they had that was set in Woodsboro. Now, they took elements from this and took them into Scream 4. Now, if you remember in Scream 4, they had a movie club. Well, in the original script for Scream 3, they had a Stab fan club. Now, it was going to be set in Woodsboro, there was going to be multiple people involved, and in the original ending, Sidney Prescott was going to go into this house or this place where there was going to be lots of dead bodies that were apparently killed by Ghostface, but then it was revealed that Ghostface didn't kill them. They were all part of it. They were all part of the Stab fan club. They were all going to rise at the same time, and it was going to be revealed that it was this cult, this fan club of Stab, and they were going to try and kill Sidney Prescott in the end. Now that was quite epic sounding, but I think some of that script might actually get brought forward to Scream 6. Now, I have mentioned it on the video before of a cult that we may see in Scream 6, which is evident from what we saw in the trailer for Scream 6. So I think that some of the scrapped script from Scream 3 we may still see come to fruition in Scream 6, just like we saw in Scream 4 where some of the scrapped script was taken into consideration. So never say never, we may still see some of that in Scream 6, which, like I said, is quite evident from the trailers, and who knows, we may see some of that scrapped script from Scream 3 come into Scream 7 with possibly the return of Stu Macher.
Surprise, Sydney.
There are more parts to the script that was scrapped for Scream 3 that I haven't mentioned just now, guys, because there is quite a lot of it. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that Scream 3 would have been a better movie if they kept the original scripts? Now, because there are so many scripts to go by, which one would you choose, and do you think it would have made a better movie? I'm not saying Scream 3 is a bad film, it is the worst of the franchise, like I said, but it's still not a bad film. But what are your thoughts, guys? Leave your comments down below. Let me know if you think Scream 3 would have been a better movie if they kept some, at least some, of the original scripts. As always, guys, thanks a lot for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.